There are few things more American, few things that embody the American ideal more than fighting for your freedom. I'm Brandy Cruz. This is Undivided. Thanks for being here. I want to start on a serious note today. I want to start with the acknowledgement that I'm going to lose followers for saying this. I'm going to lose subscribers for saying this. But if you know anything about me, if you've followed me for any period of time, then you know that keeping my moral clarity intact is the most important thing to me. So with that in mind, I have said publicly that I am not a conservative. I don't consider myself a conservative. However, I believe, and you're free to disagree, but I believe that I have been respectful about conservative and to those who have conservative ideals. I believe that I have given them over the past decade or so as a journalist a fair platform to talk about their ideas, especially in a city and in a state that has all but shut them out. And I have done so, quite frankly, even at times under unbearable levels of scrutiny and vilification. But as a result of what I believe has been my fairness towards conservatives, I have built up a pretty sizable conservative following, despite not fully subscribing to conservatism myself. And so to the extent that I have any influence over conservatives, to the extent that any of them care about my opinion, I feel like it is my responsibility to speak out about a really concerning narrative on the right. I have seen and heard few things more un-American than the pro-Russia sentiment being pushed by some on the right this past week. People who praise or apologize for Putin while daring to pretend that they espouse conservative values.
Can we give a round of applause for Russia? Yes.
You know, I actually support Putin's right to protect his people and always put his people first, but also protect their Christian values. I identify more with Putin's Christian values than I do with Joe Biden.
Putin is now saying it's independent, a large section of Ukraine. I said, how smart is that? And he's going to go in and be a peacekeeper. That's the strongest peace force. We could use that on our southern border. That's the strongest peace force I've ever seen. There were more army tanks than I've ever seen. They're going to keep peace all right.
Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? Did he manufacture a worldwide pandemic that wrecked my business and kept me indoors for 2 years? Is he teaching my children to embrace racial discrimination? Is he making fentanyl? Is he trying to snuff out Christianity?
Being a contrarian often takes courage. But what you just saw wasn't courage. It was cowardice. Courage is Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine and a one-time comedian who is standing with his countrymen, even if it costs him his life. Courage is a boxer who stays to help his country with the match of its life. Courage is Russians taking to the streets, risking beatings and arrest to protest their government. Courage is men and women of all ages arming themselves with whatever they can find to fight off one of the world's most powerful militaries. Courage is telling a warship to kick rocks when you're outmanned and outgunned. There are few things more American, few things that embody the American ideal more than fighting for your freedom. And there are few things more un-American than defending or apologizing for those who are trying to take someone's freedom away by force. It doesn't mean that you have to advocate for war with Russia or for sending our troops into Ukraine. It doesn't mean that you have to see Russia as the only problem in the world. It doesn't mean you can't question our government's response. It doesn't even mean that you have to be a cheerleader for Ukraine or believe every single thing being reported out of there. And it doesn't mean that you can't complain about the issues that we're dealing with here at home. But when Putin's propaganda machine is using your words to justify his actions, then perhaps you ought to pick your words more carefully. Now, my words are not meant for people who have propped up Russia, like Donald Trump and Tucker Carlson. My words are meant for those who are too afraid to stand up to them, too afraid to speak up, too afraid to say forcefully that those values are not conservative values, that those values are not Christian values, that those values are not Republican values, that those values are not American values. If you're too concerned with the political ramifications of saying so and saying so loudly, then you are choosing to put petty party allegiances over the God-given right of every human being to be free. And I can think of few things more un-American than that.